Hello, Farm Bureau family. I'm Craig Ogden, your New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau State President. I would like to thank you for joining us as we explore the importance of grassroots policy development. New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau was created in 1917 out of the need for advocacy. Over 100 years later, that need is still very prevalent. Without clear and concise policy, advocacy can't happen. And good policy can only be created by you, the grassroots. You all are the heart of Farm Bureau, and your policies guide the staff to champion our cause. I'm excited today to present you with this overview on policy development and how you can contribute. Whether it's at the county, state, or national level, we welcome your participation in our efforts to promote and protect your livelihood. I extend an invitation to you and your county boards to assist our advocacy efforts by either coming to the Roundhouse during the session or by reading proposed legislation. Thank you for all you do for New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau. We appreciate your time and your dedication.
Thank you, President Ogden, for that overview on the importance of policy development and the grassroots movement. I'm Tiffany Rivera, your Director of Government Affairs.
And I'm Valerie Huerta, Director of Organization. We're happy to provide you with this presentation to highlight the policy process as well as the importance of good policy.
Policy is extremely important. It provides us direction on how to best advocate for you, our members. Later in our presentation, we will go over a couple of examples of policy items that you may want to consider as we approach annual meetings.
So sit tight and join us as we explore the world of policy development.
Welcome and thank you for joining our policy development training. Farm Bureau is built upon a foundation of grassroots policy development. You may be asking yourself, what exactly is grassroots policy development? Grassroots policy development starts at the local level and is utilized to create movement and change. It allows for local ideas, concepts, and issues to grow into state and national policy, all while allowing each individual member the opportunity to voice their opinion. This movement all starts with you, our members.
What is policy and why is it important? Policy is a statement of intent that reflects the thoughts, opinions, and values of our members as it pertains to a specific topic. Members bring forward issues that are important to them and produce statements on those issues. Policy statements can support, oppose, or even remain neutral on a topic. Policies are used to guide our organizational and advocacy efforts for the year. The Farm Bureau Policy Book is a living document that evolves over time with the development of issues.
New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau utilizes the policies crafted and adopted by our membership in a multitude of ways. We use our policies in decision-making, legislative advocacy, state and national efforts, regulatory reform, commenting opportunities, and letters of support or opposition, as well as much, much more. It is the document staff lives by while advocating for you, our membership. Strong policy is essential to ensure the voices of our membership are heard.
So how is policy developed? Policy development is a year-long process that starts at the county level during county annual meetings, moves to the state level for consideration at our annual meeting in November, and finally concludes with the American Farm Bureau Federation annual meeting, where national policy is established. Let's take a look at each of those components a little closer.
We start off first with the interim. Throughout the year, county boards and issue advisory committees meet and discuss issues. These conversations and meetings often inspire our members to research and propose policy on relevant topics. Members draft the proposed policy and present it to their county board for consideration. During the county annual meetings at the end of the year, county boards will review and vote to adopt or dismiss the proposed resolutions. Resolutions that are adopted by the counties are sent to the State Resolutions Committee. The Resolutions Committee, which is comprised of the state's county presidents, will convene prior to the annual meeting and review submitted resolutions. They may consolidate similar resolutions or make recommendations to the House of Delegates on how to improve or strengthen the resolutions submitted. They also make recommendations to omit or adopt resolutions. Each November, New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau hosts its annual meeting. This is a great time for our membership to gather, visit, and most importantly, discuss submitted policy resolutions. Policy resolutions adopted by county boards are presented by that county at the annual House of Delegates meeting, which is comprised of qualified voting delegates from each county. The county will then provide the title of the resolution, give a brief explanation along with background information, and lastly, present the resolution to the House of Delegates for consideration. The House of Delegates will discuss and debate the proposed resolution and then take a vote of action to adopt or dismiss that resolution. Resolutions that are adopted by the House of Delegates are added to the New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau policy book and are utilized to advocate for you, our membership, during the next year.
Resolutions that are adopted at the House of Delegates that have national significance will be submitted to the American Farm Bureau Federation for consideration as national policy during their annual meeting in January. Resolutions are submitted, debated, and voted on in a similar fashion as the State Farm Bureau. The resolutions that are adopted by the voting delegates will be incorporated into the Farm Bureau policy book. American Farm Bureau Federation will then utilize these grassroots developed policies to advocate for its members at a national and even global level.
Now that you know the timeline of the policy development process, let's talk about how members and county boards can best prepare and tackle policy development. Prior to the annual meeting held in November, counties will receive a resolutions form, a resolutions memo, and a voting delegate report. Counties should utilize these documents in order to submit policy items for consideration during the House of Delegates. Remember that resolutions must be submitted on the resolutions form. When filling out the resolutions form, it is imperative that the county provide as much background information as possible, as this background information provides supporting evidence for the policy and is extremely important from a historical perspective.
The resolutions form, resolutions memo, and voting delegate report will all be sent out to county boards prior to their annual meetings. Here we can see what the resolution form looks like. Each section is important and tells us the origin or where it came from, the recommendation or the action, and the background or the history. Let's take a further look into how to develop a proposed policy while utilizing this document.
During the 2020 legislative session, Senate Memorial 3, Glean Unharvested Farm Produce, was introduced by Senator Rodriguez and passed. The memorial requested that the New Mexico Department of Ag convene a work group to address the potential for gleaning unharvested produce in New Mexico. New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau was approached by the department to participate in this work group. To ensure that our producers and their views are represented, we have agreed to participate. There's just one issue. We don't have a policy addressing gleaning. Now, we will run through a quick mock exercise on how to develop a gleaning policy. First things first, we will start off by utilizing our resolutions form. This form will take us through the process. Since we already know the topic of our policy, we will start with that as our title, gleaning. Next, we will fill in the county name. You will enter your county Farm Bureau in this space. Now we will include our background information. Remember that the background information and supporting information is very important as it helps us better justify our policy. If you need help with this section, please feel free to call or email me, and I'd be glad to help you develop this. Next, we will move on to the meat of our document, and that is the proposed policy statement. The policy statement should state our position, be concise, strong, and informative. Again, if you need help or assistance here, please give us a call and we'd be glad to help you develop and articulate your thoughts. Once you have completed these 5 steps, your resolution document is complete and ready to submit to your county board for consideration. Since gleaning is a new policy topic, we will request adoption of new policy. Once you have completed these 5 steps, your resolution document is complete and ready to submit to your county board for consideration. Now that we have walked through the entire policy development process, let's look at some different examples of policy needs. Potential policy items include legislative term limits, mail-in elections, electronic logging devices, New Mexico produce in schools and senior center programs, glean unharvested produce, New Mexico Unit Fund, and carbon tax credits or carbon sequestration credit markets. These are some of the topics that you may want to consider as you approach your county annual meetings.
Remember that policy is the backbone of our organization and provides us the guidance on how to best serve you, our members, while ensuring that your voices and values are represented.
Hello, I'm Chad Smith, CEO for New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. Policy development is such an important process that helps shape the future of agriculture and your Farm Bureau. Our grassroots structure is what makes us a strong organization. Our policy guides us in all of our advocacy efforts. We use it daily to help address the challenges that you all face. As staff, we find gratitude in advocating for good, sound policy that paves the way for our future generations. We thank you for your time. We thank you for being a proud Farm Bureau member and look forward to your policy development efforts this year.